actually, Edward, I will say there, without getting into the analysis of what happened or how to keep it going or whatever, at times when I have some silence, I am aware of, the only way I can put it is thoughts trying to arise, and I can see enough of the thought to realize that I don't need that thought. I guess when you spoke of seeing the perfection until there is a flaw, it's sort of, I see a thought trying to arise and I realize that it's not arising in response to any kind of flaw. It's just arising from the programming, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, if there is the observation of the flaw, then that observation more than likely is not going to happen in the space of thought. It's going to happen in the place of seeing, of observation outside of thought. But there's the real kicker, there's the real problem, because the manifestation or the explanation of it is of thought. I mean, this thing called thought is a hugely difficult thing to speak of. The question begs itself, what is it that we did to communicate before thought? And then the obvious liberation, if you will, of thought must have been fantastic invention or creation, whichever you consider it may have been. But now it's being discovered, at least I say, that it's a huge detriment as well, because we have trapped ourselves in it. We've become trapped in it.
Yes, I see that quite clearly these days, Edward. At least as it applies to me. Well, there are a lot of things I don't see, of course. One of them is, like you mentioned, that the flaw can be addressed by thought, which I will not dispute. But I was wondering, when you speak of the flaw that may be there in addition to the perfection, or that was, let's say, the perfection that was, might this flaw also be just addressed by intelligence and that no thought need arise?
Yes, that's my point. That's what I was saying. And the moment that this, let's say that there is a new creation, that there is a new consciousness born, that there is a new way of being, and in the creation of that, there is perfection, or you are perfect is another way of saying that. And in that creation of being perfect is the flaw at its birth. So the perfection is born with the flaw. Do you see? And it lives with that flaw until it's discovered. It's sort of like it's born at the same time, and then in between, it's kind of like this, in between the perfection and the flaw is a maze. And for each new birth of perfection, you must move through the maze, if you will, in order to find the flaw that's in the perfection, because it's perfect. And it sounds a little bit like a dichotomy, or it sounds silly, perhaps, to say, I'm looking for the flaw in the perfection. And actually, it's not a function of looking for it. It's a function of living from the perfection until you discover the flaw. This stuff is delightful to converse about, but I wonder where it's going after the conversation happens. I wonder what's happening with it. And that question there it makes me if you're really seeing. If you know that you're seeing, then you're not seeing. That's how you would know that you're when you're seeing.